Okay, so mathematically, this is a very, very easy question. But it is worded in a really confusing way. That's really what they're testing here is can you make sense of what they want? So one clue about what we need to do is this word probability. We've seen this in other parts of the SAT. We've seen this on other tests. This reminds me of the fact that we're going to basically need to turn this into a fraction, right? There's a fraction we're going to make, and we're saying, okay, what's the thing that we care about, and how many times is that going to happen out of the number of possible times anything could happen, right? So we need to focus on the numerator and the denominator. And normally on SAT questions, the denominator of the fraction is the harder piece because they very rarely ask you about the entire chart. So if I were being asked about the entire chart, my denominator here would be 60, right? Because that's the total of all the contestants. But the question is worded in a way that, tells us to restrict our denominator. We're not choosing out of everybody. So that's how I would read this, is I'm looking for, what are we choosing out of? What is our kind of base value here? So let's read it. No contestant received the same score on 2 different days. If a contestant is selected at random, what is the probability that the selected contestant received a score of 5 on day 2 or day 3, given that the contestant received a score of 5 on one of the 3 days? So the bottom is right here. Given that the contestant received a score of 5 on one of the 3 days, that's telling me that I only want to care about these people. I only care about people who got a 5 at one point. So the denominator here is 7. There's only 7 contestants who got a 5. Okay? So that's the number of people I care about. And then of those, what is the probability the selected contestant received a score on day of 5 on day 2 or day 3? So that's these two right here. So that's 2 plus 3 is 5. So the answer here is indeed 5 out of 7. I told you the math was easy. We literally added 2 plus 3. I don't really know what to tell you here. I guess the best strategy in my mind is maybe what I would classify as get back to basics. And this is much easier to do if you've been studying for a while now and you have a good sense of how the SAT asks questions, because there is absolutely a basic version of this question that we see on a lot of SATs, where it'll be a much less confusing chart. The wording will be less confusing, but the process will be the same. We got to find who we're choosing out of, and then specifically what we're choosing. If you know that, then when you see those keywords like probability, you kind of know that that's generally what you're after. And so the SAT has absolutely taken that basic kind of question and twisted it up to make it much more confusing. But if you can recognize that at bottom there's this basic probability chart kind of idea, then you can be a little bit more confident and work to untwist it. It's hard to do, but with practice it gets easier to do. And so that's all the more reason why, learn from your mistakes, try to practice, try to notice patterns in what you're doing. That way you can see if you're getting the same types of questions right or wrong again and again. And when they do twist them up, you can recognize more easily what you're dealing with and how to untwist it. Hopefully that helped. I'm sorry it's not a better explanation, but this is just one where they're truly just trying to mess with you because of the wording, and hopefully you can understand what they mean and get it right.